What is happening, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and today we're going to take a look at the Batman, the rise and fall of the Batman Omnibus from DC Comics. So, please stay tuned. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this particular omnibus is due out in the direct market on December 30th. However, there are places that have already gotten it. So I know a lot of my Canadian brothers and sisters that are my subscribers have told me they've already picked it up. So it's already available some places. With the DC distribution, it's getting really weird with release dates. But to play it safe, it's not officially out in the direct market in America until December 30th, and then a week or two later in the book market. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this spine right here. Batman, the rise and fall of the Batman. Really like that title because both of those stories are found in these very pages. Let's get a better look at the back here. And you have the character of Batwoman, Red Robin, Spoiler, and Orphan, Clayface, and of course Batman. They're the ones that kick off the book. I'm going to be talking about the story here in a little bit without giving too many spoilers or any at all. And of course, let's look at it under the dust jacket. So it's this image of Batman. Could be bleeding. Could be raining red blood. Hey, Red Rain. One of my favorite stories from the Elseworlds. Anyway, but this is the image that you get. I find it really interesting that nowhere on the title does it say Detective Comics, because that's what this collects. This collects James Tynion's Detective Comics run. So this has been previously collected in trade paperback, in these wonderful, beautiful 4 deluxe editions. As a matter of fact, all of this is in here. This has just one more little thing that these don't. But these were perfect. So why the hell did I upgrade? That's a good question. Maybe throughout this episode I can answer that question. Not just for you all, but for myself. But yeah, all 4 of these books are collected in here. And this is the deluxe editions of the Detective Comics run from the Rebirth era. So let's go ahead and start talking about this particular omnibus. By the way, there is a bat logo back here. Not sure if you can tell if it's back there or not from the video. Batman, the rise and fall of the Batman Omnibus. Here are all the credits, like the writers, the artist, pencilers, inkers, and the colorists, letterers. And then it kicks off with the very first issue right here, Detective Comics 934. So let's go ahead, and the reason I said why the hell did I upgrade is because these deluxe editions are as tall as an omnibus, and literally we're looking at the exact same size of artwork, and you all know I like oversized artwork. But here's the thing with me, and that's if the story means something to me, then I want the best possible format to own it in. That's why I decided to get this. I knew ahead of time I was going to. This particular story was so amazing to me that I knew I was going to upgrade to an omnibus if it was ever announced. Even when I had those Rebirth Deluxe editions, they're gorgeous. And please, by all means, if you have them, don't think that you have to upgrade. There's only one story in here that is not collected in there. So let's talk about the contents of this book. So this omnibus collects Detective Comics 934 to 981, which is the beginning of the Rebirth era. And then it also collects annual number 1, the entire Night of the Monster Man crossover event with Nightwing and Batman. So it collects Batman 7 and 8, Nightwing 7 and 8. And then what it collects in here that's not in the other deluxe editions is the Robin 80th Anniversary 100th Super Special Spectacular number 1. Some pages from that, and some pages from Detective Comics 1000. That's what's collected in here. Those 2, not even full issues, but those 2 extra material from those 2 issues are collected within this omnibus that are not in the deluxe editions. So this omnibus has 1,280 pages. It does retail for $150. So you have The mastermind behind all this, like I mentioned, is James Tynion. During the crossover event, he is helped by Steve Orlando, and then, of course, Nightwing and Batman. They're written by Tom King, Tim Seeley. Marjorie Bennett helps out during a couple of issues. And then you have the art. Oh my gosh. So the art, I've talked about this gentleman just recently, and that's Eddie Barrows. Eddie Barrows kicked off this Detective Run series. So this takes place immediately after the run on New 52. So after Detective Comics number 52 ends, which is part of the New 52 era, they start the numbering system again with the original Detective Comics number. So that's why it kicks off with Detective Comics 934. Now, I've seen places that this contains Detective Comics 982, but it doesn't. This collects everything that James Tynion did, so it takes us all the way to 981. But it's not just Eddie Barrows that does the artwork in here. He's also joined by the talented Joe Bennett, Ben Oliver, Riley Rosmo, Marcio Takara, Javier Fernandez, Alvaro Martinez Bueno, who this is my first time ever seeing his artwork, Jesus Merino, and Phil Briones. And those are just some of the art. Oh, Scott Eaton does some of the artwork in here too. And those are just some of the artists that are in this book. So it's full of just wonderful talent. Now, what is this about? How does this get started? So all of this kicks off with a story about an army of armored Batman. And Batman himself has no idea how they came about. And these Batman, they have one goal, and that's to take out these vigilantes in Gotham City. So Batman recruits his cousin, Batwoman, and Tim Drake, who's Red Robin at the time, to recruit some other young vigilantes that are fighting crime in Gotham and make a team out of them so they can stop these armored Batmen. So, of course, they recruit Cassandra Cain, who is now going as Orphan, who used to be Batgirl. They also recruit Stephanie Brown, who's now going as Spoiler, and Clayface. That's right, Basil Carlo, a reformed criminal, now joins the ranks of Batgirl, Batwoman, Spoiler, Robin. It's pretty crazy. And at first I was like, it's a gimmick. So let me tell you, when I first saw that first issue, like James Tynion is no stranger to Batman. He had written some of the stuff for Batman Eternal. He wrote Batwing. As a matter of fact, Batwing does show up in this book, as well as Azrael, as well as Anarchy. But let's go back. So I thought it was just a dumb gimmick. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a team of Batman. Yay, we've seen that time and time again. We've seen that in Batman. And for as much as he wants to be a loner, he has always had a Bat family, and they always come to help him. So superhero teams, they're not difficult to find this day and age. They're everywhere in the DC universe, in Marvel. And when I saw that I saw the cover to the first issue, and I saw they had Clayface. I thought at first, I'm like, all right, well, let's check it out. Let's see what happens. But I was taken by surprise. What I thought was a gimmick turned out to be one of the best Bat reading experiences I've had. And damn it, I swore I would not put my 2 cents on how much I really enjoyed this run, but I can't help it sometimes. When everybody was fighting about who's the better writer in the last decade of Batman, was it Tom King or Scott Snyder? My answer has always been James Tynion. James Tynion by far got the voices down of all these characters, not just Batman. And yes, Batman shows up in these stories, but it's more about the supporting cast. And the supporting cast that really, unless they had their own ongoing series, never got the spotlight as much as they needed to have in the original issues of Batman or the Detective Comics. So it's nice to see Detective Comics actually focus on these supporting cast members. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Sometimes on these overviews, I can't help but putting them in there. So I apologize for that. I try to remain neutral when it comes to these overviews, but I'm pretty sure if you've been watching me for a while, you can tell which books I'm really excited about, which ones I'm like, it's up to you all. And then, of course, which ones I'm not the biggest fan of. But let's go back to this. So, to me, this story was just beautifully crafted. He made you care about characters that you normally wouldn't have. I never thought I would care about Basil, like Clayface. I thought he was just another, other than the beautiful Batman animated series episodes that he was in, That's what he was able to recapture in these pages. He made me care about these characters again. Like, Tim Drake, who, oh my gosh, during the New 52, it was hit and miss depending on who was writing him. Stephanie Brown, she'd been a character that was forgotten by Dan Didio, by DC Comics, and then they brought her back out of obscurity because a lot of fans were pissed off that they just kind of wrote her off. Or Cassandra Cain. The years of Kelly Puckett's Batgirl are just amazing, and to bring her back in all that glory, and Batwoman, all these characters, honestly. So to put it simply, the characters will resonate with you. The storytelling is just crafted so well. The pacing is amazing. And then you have this beautiful artwork. This is everything you want in an omnibus. This is everything you want in a story. And it's all here. It has a beginning and it does have an ending, sadly. And like I said, there's a lot of heartbreaking moments to take us there. And then there's a lot of hell yeah moments in there too. And then we get some badassness of Azrael and the Order of St. Dumas. Yeah, Batwing. Oh, there's so many characters that come back. Not just from the New 52 era, but also pre-Flashpoint. There's a lot of characters that come back, a lot of surprising characters. So nice little Easter eggs for people that have been reading Batman for a long time. Now, let's look at the extras in the back and talk about this binding because it is a big book. All right, so we are looking at the variant covers back here. And I don't think any of this really spoils anything. Spoils. Didn't even time that. Sometimes life just works out. Variants for Nightwing. This is Night of the Monster Men variants. And then back to, yeah, every issue had a variant cover. And they're all in here. Badass. It's by Rafael Albuquerque. Now, I do have to skip a few of these because they do reveal some things. And I don't want anybody to get spoiled. So let's just get back here. We'll look at a couple more variants and then head back here to the trade paperback. So this is Detective Comics Volume 1. This is the trade paperback cover. This is an unused variant cover or unused alternate cover by Eddie Barrows. And then Night of the Monster Man promotional artwork. There's a little bio on where you can find some of the creators. Of course, not all of them. Let's talk about this binding. Now, at 1,240 pages, it is a big book. And that is a big eye, so that's going to help. Now, let's look at it with some 2-page spreads. Hopefully we can find some that don't spoil anything. So here we are towards the very beginning. This is the very first issue when he's recruiting his team. And honestly, this feels better than, or at least to me, than the Nightwing Omnibus that I just did an overview of. And that's got only 800 and something pages. This has 1,280 pages. But I remember Nightwing was trying to shut on me from, like, I think we were about 100 and something pages in. This one's, I mean, it's trying to close up a little bit, but not as much as Nightwing was. But let me try to find a 2-page spread here so we can look at if the gutter loss. Alright, from the very first issue, here's a shot of Batwoman. It's a 2-page spread. So you can tell there is a little bit of gutter loss right here. You have to hold it down to see her full knee or the leg actually connect. But let's look in the back, see if, or let's look in the middle, see what it looks like when we're about halfway through. Not the middle, but about 200 or so pages in. This is a page spread that we've already looked at earlier. And of course, I do love the Victim Syndicate, but this is what it looks like. So there is minimal gutter loss right there. Okay, so we're a little bit over the halfway point, but this is what the spreads look like around this mark. So you can see, yes, gutter loss right there, where there's the character's face. You can't really tell. But I mean, sometimes these things happen, right? You have a book that's 1,280 pages. There is some extra glue that they put in here. That's what, when I was flipping through here again, even though I've properly opened it already, there was some cracking again. Okay. So, here we are towards the back. I can't get to the last couple of story arcs because there's a huge reveal and I don't want to spoil that for anybody. But here's Clayface just going through the city. Whether this is a dream sequence or whether this is real is up to you all to find out. But this is what it looks like. So, towards the end, yeah, even here, there is some minimal gutter loss. I know that bothers some people, so I do want to make it clear that there is some in this book. But that, as they say, is that. Now, you can purchase this book from our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for US customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and the build of this particular omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you're upgrading your trade paperbacks, if you're upgrading your deluxe editions like my dumbass did, or if you've never read it and this is the first time you're going to be diving into James Tynion's Batman. Again, I'm a huge fan of this book, so hopefully I'll hear some comments back. Let me know what you all think of this title, if you've read it, if you liked it, what you thought of the artwork. But anyway, leave all those comments down below. Please don't forget to hit that like button and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We put out videos every day. Don't forget we have a Patreon and a Redbubble. Amazing ways to support the channel. Our Patreon has different tiers, and all of that information can be found in the description of this video. And more importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.